Secretary of Middle Belt Forum. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you heard the man from Muti Alakatun saying that the Middle Belt, the past leader, was preaching hate speech. He also did say that there's this attempt to blackmail, criminalize what he described as herding in this country. But let's get your immediate response to what he said about the former statements.
Well, if the security agencies were allied to their responsibilities, those guys talking there should not be walking free on the streets of Nigeria. Why? Because they are terrorists. I have refused to key into the idea of saying farmers herders clashed. There is no farmer herders clashed. You go to a village, you have seen it. It is not fake news, isn't it? They burn the villages, kill the people, destroy everything. Is there a clash there? With sophisticated weapons. Targets are chosen, planned, and people are eliminated. There is a planned genocide. There is a planned extermination of the Middle Belt people. There is a deliberate compromise of these people who are criminals, who are terrorists, who are the same thing like Boko Haram. They are not different from them, and they are there. They are not herders.
But even though the government has not declared them as terrorists, maybe independently calling them so.
I am saying so.
But
I didn't start saying it today. I started saying it since 2011.
But the government has not told us that
I don't want
that
to
group
believe, I don't want to,
Allah is a terrorist organization.
I
the government
not
has not
whether
said
the government believes in it.
But
after all, international communities have said that the government is being compromised and they are supporting terrorism. And what is worse than what is happening? Take, for example, somebody will lie to the whole world and say 800 people were killed in the Mambila Plateau and no news of it. Did they show it that 800 people were killed? They were killed and simply swallowed them or thrown them into the ocean or into the river, and the corpses were not known and nothing happened. And this, it is an afterthought to now tell the world, oh, 800 people were slaughtered. But when it happened, why didn't they tell the world that 800 people were slaughtered? So these same people are the terrorists. Let me tell you, you have different types. What these people are the Boko Haram promoters. They are the terrorist promoters. An average Fulani man that we have lived with for ages will never do what they are doing. They are simplistic in their thinking, straightforward, honest, and dedicated. If you offend them, they will retaliate. If you don't offend them, you are their friend. Now, how many people, our people, have gone out to go and kill Fulanis in their villages? How many Fulani villages have been burnt? And how many Fulanis do you have in a small community?
Let's look at
Can there be even up to 50? Let's look
at that just situation that just happened recently, where over 100 people were murdered.
No, please.
Hold on. Let me see. Let me
confirmation about 268 people were killed.
Okay, if you say so. So coming from you, but if you have to look at that scenario against what our guest in Abuja from the Mayete Allah Katul Hauri, from Magban instead. He said that their member made that categorical statement claiming that they perpetrated that attacks and have dissociated the whole organization from a particular individual who belongs to them as a high-ranking member. How do we delineate that?
Sorry, I didn't get you very well.
A member of Magban, a high-ranking member, came out and made the declaration that they carried out that attack in Jos, the Plateau State capital.
But they carried out the attack.
Yes, but the leadership now of the party of the group has come out to say that no, he spoke on his own. He has no right to speak on our behalf. How do you weigh that?
That is to demonstrate categorically they are trying to deceive the Nigerian people and the whole world on what is happening. But all of them are one and the same thing. Criminals, terrorists, and they know it. And the security agencies should not allow these people to walk free.
Is it not justified for the umbrella body now to come and say that our member, yes, he said so, but he spoke on his own. He's not part of us.
He couldn't have spoken on his own. He cannot have the ability to supply the weapons and identify the people. And you know, somebody there in Jos said categorically, when there was 24-hour curfew, they saw military people escorting cattle. Escorting the terrorists. How did they manage to come out when there was 24-hour curfew? Because a same scenario happened in Kaduna State. On the 24th of December 2016, there was 24-hour curfew. We sat down, we saw about 15 armored tanks that passed to Kafanchan. More than 35 trucks of police and soldiers passed to Kafanchan. 24-hour curfew. And they were slaughtering people in Kafanchan like chickens. And the people said they asked the police and the army,
who was
and they said, the terrorists. The terrorists were slaughtering people. Are you getting me?
How?
And the army and the police, as they said, or that they had not been given orders. And the governor of Kaduna State has told the whole world how he went to pay people outside the country to stop coming to kill us. It is a public news. It's a common thing. So it is the same scenario. And it is the theory of conspiracy that I'm using and saying that, look, the very used terminology, Fulani farmers conflict, does not apply here. They are killing the farmers. They are killing everybody. They are killing us.
And ask you, because, I mean, listening to them, they have said that there is a cause to some of the effects of what we're seeing today. But from your perspective, listening to you, correct me if I'm wrong, it does appear as though you're saying, look, they are just out there to kill the people. Hasn't there been any case where there's been some killing on the part of maybe some residents or some rogue elements in there? Because he says, for instance, the case of Zamfara, they were arming the neighborhood watch. Even in Benue Plateau, he says some of those persons have carried out certain killings to which there were retaliation. Does that mean that that didn't happen?
The question you have to ask in Zamfara, will the government have armed the neighborhood watch if there was peace?
Are you justifying?
No. I'm not justifying it, but you cannot also unjustify it. The first thing that the Zamfara governor would have done is because of the perpetuity of the killings in Zamfara that he set up the neighborhood watch.
So why didn't he disarm them again after?
Why will he disarm them when the killers, the terrorists, have increased in number? What I am trying to tell you here is that they are using, it's just the same thing when Boko Haram started. They started by burning churches. They started by killing Christians. I am sure I was here, which I said that, look, it is just a ploy to make the Muslims think that they are for them, but they were not, and that the Muslims will suffer more. So any sensible, responsible, reasonable person, Christian or Muslim, should know that we are dealing with terrorists probably worse than Boko Haram.
Let me ask you,
and they should be cut to size.
We've had the president say,
and their sponsors are there.
We've had the president say that, look, if anyone is seen bearing arms, they should be arrested. So if you say then that they arm those neighborhood watchers, is there any law that approves or warrants?
He's saying it now, not then.
No, but I think his president has said it before.
No, look, let me ask you this question. We have discussed at length the issue of state police, isn't it?
No, but that's a separate matter entirely.
No.
The question is, do they have that?
That is what
right?
I'm coming to now.
Right.
That is what I'm coming to. But technically, there is hardly a single state in Nigeria that doesn't have a de facto state police, whether you are talking of Kano or anywhere in Nigeria. And the reason for setting up the neighborhood watches is because the security agencies failed to protect lives and property.
There are two separate things there. It's one thing.
Separate.
Let me make my point.
They set up because there was insecurity.
So let me ask you a question.
Because there was security.
Let me rephrase the question then. The first is, if the state assemblies make a law for, say, neighborhood watch, and then they set them up, it's different from allowing them to bear arms, aren't they? They're two separate things.
That is what he is saying.
No, I'm asking you because if you say that they arm them to bear arms.
I don't know if they bear arms.
But he said that they arm them.
We have neighborhood watches across the country who report even to the police.
His words is
that
his words are that they have turned into monsters now, having been equipped with weapons by the state government.
That is what he is saying, not the state government. I've not heard that from the state government. And I'm sure if the state government had peace in Zamfara, if the people were secured, if everything was in order, they wouldn't have set up and armed the neighborhood watches. It's because of the failure of the security agencies, assuming he did. It's because of the failure of the security agencies that the Zamfara governor will have set up the security agencies and armed them. But if they were up to their work, they wouldn't be.